Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jamie the Crafty DIY Guy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some fall DIY projects that are perfect for the upcoming season. We're also going to be dipping our toe into fall 2021, and I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of brand new DIYs in this video. Most of the projects in this video are kind of a collection of some of my previous projects that I've done. I love all of these projects. It is literally things like concrete pumpkins and thrift flips and tons of Dollar Tree DIYs. And then of course, the sneak peeks of the new ones that I've got for you. Before we get into those though, I do want to say, of course, thank you to my OGs and to my long-term subscribers. You guys know who you are. I truly appreciate you being here. If you're brand new to the channel, maybe even checking it out for the first time, then welcome. Hopefully you will stick around and become a subscriber. If YouTube recommended this video to you, thank you, YouTube, and hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy. All right, guys, let's jump into those projects.
All right, everyone, and for this first project, you're going to use some Dollar Tree florals. You're going to use a lot of Dollar Tree florals. You're going to also use a grapevine wreath and some of this fall ribbon. I also grabbed this fall sign when I was at my local store, and like I said, lots and lots of Dollar Tree floral. The great thing about this particular item is that you can find a lot of the stuff already in the stores. You can find some of the florals. You can find those grapevine wreaths pretty easy. And, you know, the ribbon's kind of hit or miss. So I'm going to take my DecoArt suede paint, and I'm going to kind of use it like an antiquing wax. And I'm just going to brush over the grapevine wreath just lightly, just to kind of darken it up a little bit. Now for this fall sign, as cute as it is, I am going to take it apart because I am going to make this wreath be part of the body of this scarecrow. So hopefully that makes sense and doesn't sound too creepy. So the first thing I did was just kind of make sure I lined it up and kind of got an idea of where I wanted it. And now I'm going to take these pumpkin stems and I'm going to take my favorite tool ever, my Lineman Pliers, and I'm just going to start cutting up all of those flowers. The Lineman Pliers are amazing, and they are linked below if you want to check them out. I'm going to take my glue gun and just kind of work my way around, and then I'm going to literally just start plugging in the florals. The great thing about working with these grapevine wreaths is that they are pretty easy to decorate. Minimal glue is really needed unless you have something specific that you want to stay in place. And here you can see I'm kind of doing a mix of some hot glue and then just kind of tucking it in between those branches. And I'm just kind of working my way around and just kind of slowly building this out and, you know, making it fun. And then I remembered I needed to leave place for that sign. And then for those legs, I just took a piece of nautical rope that was left over. It was the white nautical rope, and I am just going to glue the legs to that at the bottom there. That way they hang. I added his head, and this is how cute. I love this fall wreath. It is the perfect way to kick off the fall season. And for this next project, we are going to be using one of these Dollar Tree trucks from the Crafter Square section. Each holiday, they seem to be coming out with a version of those trucks. Also, I'm going to be using some of these wood pieces that I picked up from Dollar Tree, of course. I'm actually going to cut the pumpkins off of here. I know you guys are probably like, what are you doing? But trust me on this one, it's going to look really good and really cute when it's all said and done. So I just took my slice tool there and I'm just kind of going across there. And now I'm going to remove the truck rails, the side rails or the truck bed rails. I don't know what they're called, but those rails I'm going to remove. And then I am going to use my antiquing wax and just kind of go over these and, you know, get that nice and brown and kind of wood looking. And then the truck, I did paint red. I just used some spray paint. I cheated, and it was a lot easier. And then I'm taking my black chalk paint, and I'm just going to fill in the tires here and get those nice and new looking. Some new tires on a new truck is always a good thing in my book. And I am just going to kind of take my brush and just kind of work my way around. The great thing about that wheel is because it is kind of laser cut, it gives you a nice area to kind of fall within. Now for the truck itself, I'm actually going to lift that rail up a little bit higher than it was before because I'm going to be filling the back of this truck and I want you to see what I'm filling it with. Now these little areas here, I am just going to take a piece of scrap cardboard here painting it silver, and I am just going to glue it to the back of that. And then for the back of my truck, I'm taking some Jenga wood pieces, or the, faux Jenga pieces from Dollar Tree, and I'm gluing them kind of right below where those truck rails are, and you will see why in just a second. Now, for those tiny little wood pieces that I showed you earlier, I am going to now glue those on top of those Jenga wood pieces to make the truck look like it is filled up with firewood. This is probably one of my favorite iterations of the red truck. I've done this, a couple different times, and usually have some sort of holiday truck that's always got presents or something in it. But this one's my favorite, and I actually did keep this one, and this is part of my decor every year. But as you can see, it looks like the truck is just filling and overfilling with firewood there and hot glue strings. So now I'm going to take one of my large popsicle sticks, and I'm just going to take these Dollar Tree stickers, and I am just spelling out the word firewood. And I'm not actually leaving these stickers on here. This technique is so cool. Don't know what happened to the camera angle there just a second ago. Sorry about that. And I did snip the ends off of it, and now I'm going to take antiquing wax, and I'm going to cover it all completely. I know you're thinking, what is he doing? But trust me, this turns out so cool. Again, this is my favorite, one of my favorite DIYs. I keep this out all year round. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off any of the excess wood. And then after you've got the color and everything that you like, I am just going to peel away those stickers, and it creates the coolest looking sign for my truck. How cool is that? I absolutely love the way that this turned out. This is definitely one of my favorite DIYs. I just tied a piece of raffia there at the top where that hole is, where the sign holder was. You could certainly fill that in with some wood putty if you wanted, but again, I am so happy with this guy. The next thing I'm going to do is take one of these water toys. I'm actually going to take two of these water toys, and we are going to create a pumpkin stand for these. Now, this piece of wood is just a scrap piece of wood. I believe this was probably from a pallet that I had in the backyard, and I was going to originally use one of these signs, but it's kind of small, so instead I'm going to go with the pallet wood. And then I had two pieces of just small scrap wood there. I think that was from the Jenga block that I cut in half. So go ahead and just get rid of your cording here. You're not going to need that. You can set that aside. This is actually a plumber's hand saw. And I like this because it cuts really well through a lot of different materials. I am just kind of where the thing starts to flatten out. That's where I cut those down there. And you can see I kind of nicked it a little bit there, but not a big deal because you're not even going to see that. Now, my pallet wood, I did just take that outside and I'm sanding it down with my mouse sander here from Ryobi. I love this little guy, and I actually lost it for a while, believe it or not, and just found it shortly, like not too long ago. I took some antiquing wax and just went over the wood, and I love the grains that this is really pulling out. The color is so beautiful. I really love it. Now, I took those Jenga wood pieces that I cut in half and put those on either end of my board. And the reason why I'm doing that is because remember those holes that are in those kind of slingshot handles, which are now going to be the stands. I am going to add a lot of hot glue to this, and then I'm going to just add this right on top of there, and it fits perfectly. And what's great about this is it is going to help hold the stand. And when you've got it all assembled, how gorgeous is this? You probably missed the part where I did take those slingshot things outside and spray painted them navy. But again, candles, succulents, you could do a lot of things with them. Now, for this next project, this is some cord that I picked up from Michael's. I then, of course, have these leaves that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I have some brown beads that I already picked up from Michael's. They were already stained and everything, so I didn't have to worry about those. And some raffia. Now, for the leaves themselves, I'm going to be taking a combination color of orange and gold, and also that brown suede paint from Deco Art, which I am kind of using as if it is antiquing wax. So go ahead and glob on some orange and then wipe it off. Wipe it off. flip it over, do it on the other side. You can do it as light or as heavy as you want to, because you're actually just going to be building layers. And here I'm just kind of dabbing it off and rubbing it in as I go around, and kind of getting this kind of burnt effect. You know how when the leaves start to change colors, and not, the leaves don't always turn all orange or all brown. So it's kind of a good combo. And now I'm just going to take some of that brown paint and just kind of work my way into the leaves and really hit those areas that maybe that orange didn't cover, doing it a little heavier on some parts, a little lighter on other parts. And you can really see the leaf color start to develop. And I love the way that this looks. I think it looks so interesting and just makes me really think about fall and fall colors. And I did take that gold paint also and kind of dabbed at and did the same thing on there. Now I'm going to take some of my beads, and I think I did like 8 or 9 beads there. And then I'm going to add a leaf, and then I'm going to add more beads, and then I'm going to add more leaves. And then I'm going to tie kind of this knot at the end of it and trim away any of that excess string. And you've got some really cool garland that you can hang up on your mantle or in your living room. You could do this on your front porch. There's a lot of different options that you can do with this. And I really love the way that this turned out. I love the color. I love how the leaves just kind of float around a little bit. I love the sizing of it. It's just perfect on my mantle. And I was super, super, super happy with this one. Now for this next project, I'm going to take this oversized star that I picked up from Michael's. This was actually left over from 4th of July, and it was on clearance. I think I paid about $3 for it. For the star itself, I'm going to once again take my Deco Art, the brown suede paint, and I am just going to paint that star. I'm going to, again, kind of use this like antiquing wax. I'm going to get a nice heavy covering on here, nice heavy coloring, and then I'm going to take my cloth and just wipe away any of the excess. Now, for this star, I am going to do not only the front, the back, the sides, the insides, and everything. I'm not so worried about the flat part, the base of that star, because you're not really going to see it. Now, for the gold paint there, this is a gold multi-surface paint. I am going to go over the excess or the outside edges there. Now I'm adding some hot glue in the middle, and then I'm grabbing these styrofoam balls and I'm just filling this sucker up, and hoping that a lot of those stick to the glue. And then I'm just going to continue to add more balls and more layers of glue and literally go back and forth. And you're just going to constantly do this until your star is completely filled up. And when it's all filled up and dried, this is what it looks like. And I have this on my bar in my house today, to this day. It's one of my favorite pieces. I get tons of compliments on it, and it's such an easy project. The next project is actually a Big Lots dupe. I'm going to take 3 pieces of wood, some of my buffalo check ribbon, a couple pieces of these wood pieces, and then these wood pieces are just from scrap wood pile. I also thought about using some of these tumbling tower blocks. I did end up using some of these on the back. Now for the wood pieces, I am going to go ahead and paint those, and I kind of have them set up and kind of how I'm envisioning this anyway, and I did add wood glue to the bottom of these to glue them all together. Now that everything is glued together, I'm going to take it outside and I'm spray painting it with my white Rust-Oleum spray paint. I didn't quite like the coverage, and I didn't want it to be quite so shiny and glossy, so I did go ahead and just add some chalk paint on top of that, and I really like the color so much better. Now for these wood pieces, these Jenga pieces, I forgot. I am going to be using these, and they're going to be using, I'm making my letters with these. So I'm using my ink, I believe that was ink Waverly, and now I'm just going to take some wood glue, and I am gluing these down to spell out the word fall. And the Jenga block pieces actually work perfectly for this. And as I'm working my way through, I always use a paintbrush with my my wood glue. It just helps it so much. I love the way it works. It just looks really nice, I think. Now, for the antiquing wax, I am just kind of dulling up that white part there. And then once I got that color all set up, Now it is time to add these wood stump pieces to kind of make these look like pumpkins. Now I took my ribbon and I'm just kind of making a simple, almost like a bow tie with some of the raffia and then that buffalo check, and making little bow ties that I can put on the top of each one of those little stumps to complete my sign. This is actually pretty easy. You just kind of pinch it in the middle. You can add a little bit of hot glue if you want. And then for my raffia pieces, I'm going to take a longer piece and I'm going to use that to kind of tie everything up. I'm going to add some hot glue just because it does help keep everything in place. I'm going to do a simple just kind of left to right wrap with that, and then put that bow tie right in the middle of each one of those, and it looks like they are tied on to this. This is so cute. I love the way this looks, and I think that this is the perfect way to kick off fall decor. And now for this next project, I'm going to be taking some of these Dollar Tree wood pieces. I'm going to take some that are the longer ones as well as the kind of short, stumpier ones. Any of them really would work. You just want to be careful, and you'll see kind of why when we're working towards this. Now I'm taking that bundle of cord that I picked up from Michael's, and I'm going to be using all of these colors at some point, but for the main part of what I'm doing here, I'm just going to be using one. It'll make sense in a minute. Now I'm taking a drill bit and I'm just drilling through the thicker pieces of this. Sorry about the camera. It's a little wobbly there, and the drill is making it shake a lot. But what I'm doing is I'm taking that drill bit, and for those larger kind of almost like rectangle pieces, they're not rectangle, but I think you know what I mean. I am drilling into the center of those. And then for the kind of longer, skinnier pieces, I'm going to be going through the sides of those. And what I'm doing is creating a hole that I can thread my cording through that I picked up at Michael's. And the idea here is that I'm going to be making a garland with these pieces. Now, I told you that I was also going to be using all of these colors at some point, and that is going to be for a tassel that's going to be at the end of my garland here. And what I'm going to be doing is literally taking these off. They are a pain in the booty to get off of this roll, but once I did get a nice color combination here, you can see I've got something that represents one of everything. Now I'm going to take a skewer and I'm just going to create a tassel with it, and then once I've got that tassel all set up, I'm going to tie it on the end of my garland, and you've got the cutest little fall garland. I took one of my leaves from the earlier project and just tied it onto the base of that, and I love the way that this looks. I think it's super cute. It's a cool way to tie in fall decor. I love it. This next one, we're taking a pie pan, some nautical rope, some buffalo check ribbon, and some fall leaves. Again, a lot of the stuff you can find in your Dollar Tree now. I'm going to take some cardboard and I'm just going to trace like half of the circle from this, because what I'm going to be doing is kind of creating a planter, if you will, out of this. I took my pie pan and I did use some chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint this black. It worked pretty good. I would say that maybe do 2 or 3 coats of this, or maybe even spray paint it with a matte black. That probably would have been better. Now I'm taking my fabric. That was actually buffalo check fabric. I think I called it a ribbon earlier. And I am just going to cut out a piece, because we are going to be covering that piece of cardboard that we cut out there. So once I've got the shape cut out that I traced, I am going to then take this and make sure that it fits, first of all, before I cut any more. And then I think for this last part, I'm just going to go ahead and just add some hot glue and just start kind of folding over my pieces here. I'm adding a generous amount of hot glue. I'm kind of making this a little bit thicker because my cardboard was kind of thin, so I wanted it to be a little bit more substantial. Now you can see I'm going to take some cardboard, or some cardboard. I'm going to take some hot glue and just add it at the top and move really quickly, because this will dry fast. And then kind of hold that into place, fold that down, and then also repeat the same along the bottom of this also. Go ahead and work in smaller parts if you can, and then just fold that up and get that in place. Make sure that it's hard, and then I am going to glue it on top of my pie pan, kind of like so. Again, this is just simple hot glue, not a big deal. For my nautical rope, I'm just going to add some on the back, kind of like so, and make a hanger out of it. And then for the actual florals, I can just take these stems and just stick these in here like this. I don't have to have any foam or anything in there. You could certainly put styrofoam in there if you wanted to. Totally up to you. I made my stems long enough and I filled this up where everything really stayed into place. And because this isn't going to be outside, this is actually hanging inside, or it was hanging inside in my kitchen, it kind of worked out perfectly, honestly. If you didn't have any styrofoam, you could use pool noodles. You could really do anything. So once I added my florals, then I took my raffia and just created a quick bow. And again, love the way that this looks. I love buffalo check. It's one of my favorite fabrics to work with and one of my favorite patterns. And I love the way that this even looks on my wood door in my craft room. I was super, super happy. So for this next one, I've got this kind of, what is this stuff called? This crazy wreath form. And then I have some of these pieces from my Christmas tree, believe it or not. And then I have these horns, and I have these cranberry stems, and then I have this burlap, and then I have this kind of buffalo ribbon. This is definitely more Christmassy, but I think it's also very transitional and kind of, maybe this is more of like your November wreath, leading into Christmas though, for sure. So I'm taking that burlap and I'm just kind of wrapping it around the wreath. This actually came off of an older wreath that I had, so why not reuse it? It was in perfect condition, and I love the way it looks, and I love that it was kind of already shaped towards the wreath form too. That actually worked out great. I'm going to go ahead and just cut off any pieces that I don't need, any extra pieces. Sorry about the camera there. And now I'm going to kind of mimic the flow with my buffalo check ribbon here. And I'm literally just kind of wrapping that around. And then I did kind of secure it with some glue. Now I'm going to take my green pieces here from my Christmas tree, and I am just going to start plugging this in. I had a little small, like 1 foot Christmas tree, and before I got rid of it, I trimmed off a lot of these pieces to use for wreaths and stuff. And now I'm adding some pine cone. I added that pine cone swag to it. And again, just kind of filling it up, making it really beefy, getting it fluffy, and kind of playing around with the placement of those kind of evergreen pieces and fluffing those out. Now I have these horns that I grabbed when I was out at, I believe I got these at Hobby Lobby. And for those, I do want to place those on the wreath form, but I'm going to go ahead and take this garland first and wrap this around. And once again, just kind of mimic the flow of everything else. And I thought I'm going to add some of these wood pieces in here too. And, just kind of plug those in, give it a more woodland feel. And I added a few, but didn't really think it looked that great. And then the horns, added those, and as you can see, I've got the most beautiful wreath form. I love this wreath form. This will be on my door, guarantee it, this fall. Even though my door is now yellow, I love it so, so much. I really, really love it. I can't say anything else. For my next project, I'm taking these felt or burlap leaves that I grabbed from Dollar Tree. I grabbed one in every color that was available. And the next thing I'm going to do is each one of these has this wire in them. So I am going to trim down that wire and, at least I'm going to try and trim it down. I couldn't find my Lineman Pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and just start trimming all of those down. But then I think I realized that there is a wire that is kind of in the middle of those, and it's just one wire. And so you can pull that out really easily. So that was what I ended up doing. So instead of trying to cut those, just pull that wire out and it'll be totally cool. And now I'm going to add my hot glue to the tips of the leaves and just kind of connect them and work them together, alternating the colors, and again, removing that wire if I need to, and just kind of putting together like a puzzle. And essentially what I'm doing here is really connecting the edges and making it look like fall. And I'm creating this really cool table runner. Now I did make those placemats out of nautical rope, and those wood chargers are from Dollar Tree. But again, I love the way this looks, and look how gorgeous it looks with the centerpiece. All right, for the next project, I'm taking these kind of wheat pieces that are from Dollar Tree, and one of those kind of what is that? The wreath form. It's not raffia. You tell me in below what it is. I'm going to take my wheat pieces and I'm going to be trimming these off with my lineman pliers. And I'm going to go ahead and get really nice long stems. And what I'm doing is just kind of spreading each one apart. And then I'm going to take my lineman pliers and just go in there. And I love working with the lineman pliers because they cut so quick. They cut everything really, really easily. And I am literally going to do this with every single wheat batch that you saw. And now that I've got these individual stems, and because I'm working with this great grapevine wreath, I remembered what it was. I am going to go ahead and just start working those into the wreath form itself as I work my way around. Now, what I love about that is that I can easily reuse this wreath form if I want to. I could add some glue if I wanted them to be in a little sturdier. But you'll see that when you start to do something like this with these little stems, they actually do hold in place really nicely. And it kind of looks like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree right now, but as I'm working my way around and filling it up, I'm kind of going left and right with the directional of the wheat because I want it to kind of look like it's all coming together, kind of like this here. Now, for this lower part, I did leave a blank spot here so I could add a bow, and I wanted to do something that was also natural, so I'm taking this raffia. And if you've ever tried to make a bow with raffia, you know it can be very challenging. So you want to make sure you have some nice long pieces, and then I just kind of pull away any of those strays just so I get nice long pieces. And then once I do have some pieces that are nice and long, I am going to go ahead and bundle it up in the middle, or what I think will be the middle anyway. And I'm doing that just to help hold everything together. And then I'm literally going to just start trimming away and kind of forming a bow here. And, I did take that raffia, I folded it in half, then I tied it in the center. And, creating that bow is certainly a little challenging with the raffia. And now I'm going to create the kind of longer pieces of the bow. Like if you were to tie it traditionally, then you would have these pieces that are kind of hanging off. I'm going to take those two pieces and we are going to glue those down to the base of the raffia form first. That way it kind of has the bow effect. And then I'm going to glue the bow right on top of that. And as you can see, this is absolutely beautiful when it's all done. That purple door is no longer purple. It is now yellow. But again, super, super happy with this one. The next thing we're going to do is take one of these over-the-door hangers. We're also going to take one of these squeegees and a wooden dowel rod, and then, of course, lots of florals and some ribbon also. Now, for this, I'm going to actually trim this down. I'm going to make sure that it is the same width of my squeegee. And again, taking those great lineman pliers and just cutting my way through that, and taking this end piece that I'm not going to need, we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Also, I don't need anything like that for the door hanger part. Now, for the dowel rod, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to center it up. I'm going to trim away any of it that I don't need here, and then we're going to glue that down. Now, for my squeegee, I'm also going to be gluing that on top of this. Now, I looked at the squeegee a couple different ways, and I thought about cutting it, but I'm not going to cut it because it's going to give me the effect of a rake. This is going to be so cool. Now, for this squeegee, I am going to just add some hot glue onto that. Then we are going to glue down that wooden dowel rod, and then we are going to glue the over-the-door hanger part to the actual squeegee itself. So we're essentially building something that is going to look like a rake. So go ahead and add your hot glue, then add your wooden dowel rod, let that harden, let that stay in place, let that be nice and solid, and then take your metal piece and glue that on top as well. So once everything had set here, I can just kind of pick away any of the extra. Now I'm going to take my rake, and we are actually or my rake. I'm going to take my squeegee, that will soon be a rake, and glue it all together kind of like this. After everything was solid and it set for a couple hours, I took it outside and I'm spray painting it with this steel. It's called dark steel paint from Rust-Oleum. I did take the handle because I wanted to kind of soften it up a little bit, and I'm just wrapping some of this raffia around it. And then for the actual florals, I just kind of created this swag by, just kind of taping some things together in the middle. And then I'm taking that raffia ribbon stuff. I love this stuff. They come out with it during the fall. I added some other florals, and you can see that I wrapped it in the middle there to kind of create a beautiful little swag or a spray. I'm not sure which one that's technically called. And then I'm going to take that bow and I'm going to tie it down the middle. And you've got the cutest rake for your front door, a fall rake DIY. This is another one that I really, really like. I really love this. It is on my door all the time. Not all year round, but I definitely will have this on my door for fall. All right, guys, now we are going to do a brand new DIY for you. This is fall 2021, and I am going to be grabbing some of these floral stems that I picked up from Dollar Tree during my last haul. I actually like these a lot. I'm glad that they had these come back, or they recycled and saved the ones from last year. I also grabbed 2 of these board planks from Dollar Tree Crafter Square. I freaking love these boards, and I'm so glad that they have them. Some oversized popsicle sticks, and then some of these glass candle holders that I also picked up at my local store. Now I'm going to take my wood board and I'm just going to put these face down on that smoother side. There's a smoother side and a rougher side to these, and the idea here is that we are going to glue these together end to end and make kind of a centerpiece for our table. Now I'm going to take my Surebonder wood glue and I am just going to glue these together end to end, kind of like so, just adding a fairly generous amount of hot glue there, and making sure that these are going to stay together. And then to kind of help reinforce that, I am going to take 2 of my oversized popsicle sticks and just kind of cross over that seam area and make sure that everything is holding together really, really nicely. This centerpiece is going to be used multiple times for a lot of different decor pieces, so it's important, that this stay together. And then because those popsicle sticks that I'm putting in the center there are going to kind of make this unbalanced a little bit because you're adding, just a little bit of height there, I am going to take 2 larger popsicle sticks and put it either end of the board. That way they almost kind of act like feet as well. Now for the candle holders, I did go ahead and take the paper off of the bottom of those for the most part anyway. And I am going to take my large glass candlesticks here, and I've got 1 larger one in the middle, then the 2 on the left and the right are the smaller, and then I go down to an even smaller size there. So hopefully that made sense. And then I am just going to kind of space these out. I did draw a line down the center of my board there, that way I knew kind of where my center mark was, and I am just using my E6000 quick hold, and I am literally gluing these directly down onto that board. Now it's important that you take your E6000 and you're gluing the edges of those glass candle holders because the center is not going to hold it there. So I took it outside, I spray painted it with my Rust-Oleum matte black spray paint, and I'm just kind of going slow at first just to make sure that I have some good coverage. And then I go in with a second coat and just kind of go over top of everything once again. And it worked out really, really good. I love this Rust-Oleum spray paint. I especially like working with it on glass and on wood. It's great for a lot of different surfaces, and it's going to really, really look great when it's all done. So after everything was dried, then I did take it inside, and it was time to start assembling our centerpiece. For the centerpiece itself, all I'm going to do is take those floral pieces from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use my Lineman Pliers here, and I'm just going to start snipping away at the kind of the trunk of the branches, at least for these larger pieces. And then I'm going to layer them. I'm going to play around with it a little bit, kind of start with the leaves on the bottom, and then with some of these floral stems, and then some of the other leaves as well. And just kind of playing around and really trying to figure out kind of what was visually appealing to me. And I really liked the way that this was starting to look. And I purposely did not glue anything down here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I can reuse this. I can use this for Christmas decor. I could use this for Valentine's or Easter. I'll be able to use this for a lot of different decor pieces and for a lot of different holidays. And I do think it's going to look amazing on my mantle. But as you can see right now, I've got it on my coffee table and I love the way it looks, especially with that burning fire in the background there. We're going to show you that in just a minute. And again, this is just such a cool way to kind of kick off fall. It's definitely got some of my absolute favorite colors in there. I love the fall leaves. I love the way the candles look. And I've got the fresh linen candles from Dollar Tree in there right now. I'll definitely switch these out to be a little more seasonally appropriate once we are in the cooler temperatures. But for right now, I love the way that this looks.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. I am back and I've got a short tip for you to show you how to really kind of make the most of your fireplace all year long. Now, in the off season, my fireplace is decorative. It is stacked with these suitcases, these vintage suitcases, which I love. But, you know, when the fall DIY stuff and the fall decor starts to hit the stores, I get a little nostalgic and I want to have a fire. And, it's definitely too warm for that. But I'm going to show you something that you can do in your own fireplace that will be a very nice substitute. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove 2 of these suitcases. I'm going to leave that big suitcase there. Next thing I'm going to do is take a fireplace grate. This would normally be the fireplace grate that's in my fireplace. And I'm actually going to put it on top of this vintage suitcase. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take a bundle of firewood. And I'm going to take the firewood and try and rip it off of here. And I'm going to take, I've got 5 pieces here, and I'm going to take probably all of these, but I'm going to kind of layer them, and we're going to kind of do a little stack, kind of like this. Maybe even kind of wobble it just a little bit. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a package of Dollar Tree string lights. These are the ones that are in copper. I've actually got 2 bundles here. They run on a battery. They're really, really great. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap it around these fireplace logs and show you that you can get the same look and feel of a romantic fire without all the heat.
So all I'm going to do is take an individual string light and just wrap it around each one of the logs. I did go ahead and remove the logs and then wrapped it around that lower log. And then as you will see, I went ahead and wrapped the second set of string lights around that top log there. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust it a little bit and then take the battery packs with the on-off switch. I made sure that they were both at the same end of my stack of logs. That way I can access them really easily. And as you will see, you've got the coolest fire. I love the way this looks. It gives me a nice ambiance without having the heat of a fire, and it's kind of romantic. I don't know. I think it's a good substitute also for maybe like a candle that you might typically do. What do you guys think? This is what it looks like in the evening, by the way. Isn't it nice? I love the way that this looks.
Hi guys, it's Jamie, your crafty DIY guy, and I'm back, and this time we've got a fall, kind of Halloween, kind of transitional fall idea. I'm making one of those concrete planters, and it's the first time I'm doing this, so hopefully it works out. This isn't an awkward angle at all, is it? All right, for your supplies for this project, you're going to need 2 or at least 1 of these pumpkins here. These are the kind of the 3-dimensional pumpkins. You can see they've kind of got the, you can see kind of the lines in them because that's going to help make your mold. You're also going to need a large bucket of some kind. I just picked this one up at Lowe's when I went to Lowe's today. You're gonna need some fast drying concrete. You're also going to need some spray pan, and you're also gonna wanna grab some solo cups. And then lastly, you're gonna want some water. This is a live hose. So I'm currently trying to pour this heavy bag of concrete in this, and it's heavy. I can't get it. Stirring this concrete's no joke. I had to switch to a big shovel and come out here in the rain, and it's a lot heavier than I thought, but it's okay. It's starting to look good. And now, after you've got a good coat of your pumpkin, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. I should have brought my tripod down with me. Then you're literally going to start taking your concrete mix and just start pouring it in that pumpkin. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll show you what it looks like before I put the solo cup in it, all right? Okay, this is a weird angle, but what you're gonna wanna do is you wanna fill your pumpkin up with concrete just about halfway to the eyeballs. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much space I left. Now, what you wanna do is take a solo cup, that's this, and spray it with Pam. And then what you're gonna do is take it and sink it in to the pumpkin. Now, it's not going to stay down there, so you're going to have to put some weight in it. So I'm gonna find a piece of board or something and get this weight down, and go ahead and start on pumpkin number 2. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think I'm gonna let it dry longer than 24 hours though. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, I am back. I've let this guy dry for almost 48 hours. It feels pretty solid, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. If this one fails, I do have one more that's curing under the house. It's very heavy, and it looks pretty good, so let's get started. Now this part, of course, you want to be very, very careful with. I'm gonna get this started. Well, I'm gonna try, forget that. We're just gonna go with the X-Acto knife, and you wanna just be very careful. And I'm just going along the seam of the pumpkin here because it seems to be the best way to just get a good cut. So let's see. Also, you want to do this not across the face of your pumpkin, because this will put, you know, a little bit of lines in there, and you obviously don't want scratches across the face of your pumpkin. Now, after you've released it from the mold, you can go through and actually put dampened water on those crease marks, and it'll help kind of hide that. So that's just a little tip that I learned on some of the videos that I watched. So far, ooh, I want to cut my finger off. Let's see if we can get this out. Yeah, so you spray it down with the pan, and that just lifts out. And then you see that is where your plant goes. And then after you cut this away, you want to have a sanding block. This is the Dollar Tree sanding block, because you want to just kind of smooth this out just a little bit. So let's just keep going here. I'm not going to cut the camera, so sorry if you're bored watching me do this, but all of the videos I've seen, people aren't really showing you this step. And ooh, that's a strong pumpkin. And you want to make sure, you know, that you're doing this the right way. And it's thicker. Oof. It's thicker down there at the base, so definitely be careful. Now, I did see where in one video they recommended that you do multiple cuts. It's almost like you're peeling a piece of fruit or something. So sorry guys, I know that this is off camera here just a little bit, but I'm trying to show you this obviously without cutting my hand off. That's starting to come apart. Good. Nice. I'm not going to cut across the face. So I'm just going to see if I can... Oh, it looks like it's working. Can you guys see that? It's working at least on this side. Oh, I might have to cut on his face because he's not releasing from there, but look at that. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm very excited. This is gonna turn out good. All right, I'm gonna have to release some of this here. So I'm gonna kind of cut around a little tighter there. That is my roommate walking in the door, so just ignore him. And we almost have this sucker done. I think this is going to turn out really good. Let's see, almost done here. I don't want to rush it. Because knowing me, I'll cut my hand off. And I need the hand. Oh, we're so close. It did it. Check it out. It is done. Now I'm just gonna take my sanding block, just kind of release some of these loose chips. And it's done. Check it out, that's cool as hell. Now you can put a plant in there, you can put you can put a candle in there, you can really do anything. If you do want to paint this though, you should let it dry for another 48 hours before you do that. So, that's my pumpkin planter. Yay, it worked. Hopefully the second one works too, because I'm sure my mom's gonna want this. Anyway, as always, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. The crafty DIY guy. Look at the face, it's really cool. All right, guys, thanks so much. Bye. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed these projects today. If you did, let me know below which one was your favorite. Also, be sure and follow me on all of the social medias. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones out there. Anyway, take care, guys.